We're 2 minutes early. Yes, I figured out apparently how to start on time or even beforehand. So it is Wednesday. You know what that means? It's time for the Wednesday Wrestling Popcast. Why? Because Monday I went to a DVC event with John Paul, so that was not an option. Yesterday I had to work at 7 a.m. this morning, so that was definitely not an option. So we're going old school tonight. We're going back to our Wednesday time. That may end up, depending on how everything goes this fall, that may be our designated day of wrestling talk. We'll see what happens. Welcome to another edition of the Wednesday Wrestling Podcast, exclusively here on the Popcast Network. I am your moderator. My name is Owen. Joining me, as always, we have the true voice of pro wrestling here on the Popcast Network, and that is Ashley.
What a week.
Say the least. And we're going to talk about a load of everything tonight. The most important things, obviously, coming up out of All Elite Wrestling and officially becoming WCW, which makes me super happy. Oh my God, I'm so happy. I am a big WCW guy, as you guys know. And the fact that this is basically going to be WCW 2.0 or the setup for it, but so much better. I love the new concepts that they are creating for All Elite Wrestling, and I cannot wait to discuss them tonight. We're going to talk WWE because we got Money in the Bank coming up on Sunday. We've got a load of everything, Ring of Honor and New Japan Pro Wrestling, of course. We're running shows left and right. Impact Wrestling is going different directions as we speak. We have mixed martial arts news, stuff from the indies, and all this and more tonight. So, Ashley, let's start with you want to start with WWE to kick off the show?
Yeah, the big news that sort of came out today, along with all the other stuff that got announced from AEW. So, yeah, as was rumored by the Wrap a few weeks back, AEW's on TNT.
So amazing.
At some
So
point.
excited.
The wording, the thing to note, the Wrap never got sent the press release.
Very unique.
Which I don't think is the kind of thing you really should be doing if you're trying to get good publicity for the thing. If you're already trying to brown nose the people that report the leaks. Because that puts you on the same level as Vince. And that's what you're not saying that you want to be. Your statement literally says people are sick of the scripted product right now.
And they are, with a couple notable exceptions. We'll get to that later tonight, too.
No, but they're doing that, but then they're also sort of being partially selective in who they give the press release to, which is, I don't think, a smart move. Also, the whole idea that they are stressing that wins and losses are going to matter.
Yes.
In that there will be sort of stats in terms of like wins and losses, but then also like somehow damage caused by moves. As if it's like some sort of Mortal Kombat.
Like a video game.
You know, oh, they've hit their finisher, well, that's a guaranteed win. So then if they kick out, does the damage on that get lessened because of it?
Interesting concept.
I just don't know. The other issue, I have to blow my nose. The other issue I have is they're announcing the deal for America. Where's the rest of it? You're saying how you want it to be global. The only hints that they're dropping is that apparently the matches may also be on Bleacher Report.
Correct.
In some shape or form, but there's no deal in the UK. There's no deal in Australia. I don't know whether there's a deal in Canada.
I would say there has to be.
And on top of that, there's a lot of countries in the world that currently don't even have access to Double or Nothing. Because nothing's been confirmed. Plus me. because I don't really want to use ITV box office. I prefer to go through Fight TV because I know that works. So I remember one of the few times that there was high demand for ITV box office, the service crashed and everybody complained that it wasn't working, which is a big problem if that happens. So as long there was some rumor that I heard that it is going to be available on pay-per-view.
Correct.
It's going to be on Fight TV internationally, not in America.
Also correct.
Well, maybe also in America. I don't know.
No, it's supposed. I saw like Xfinity was actually advertising it.
Oh no, I've seen the actual sort of like traditional pay-per-view stuff, but I'm talking online pay-per-view. And arguably the only real service that does that is Fight. I mean, it worked for All In, so hopefully they can do the same. On top of that, whole slew of referees. Paul Turner, formerly of Ring of Honor, getting signed up. One of the referees at Defy Wrestling, Earl Hebner, for some reason. And then the most important one, Rick fucking Knox.
Well, Bryce got signed too.
Yeah, but we knew that last week
Right.
from him announcing the Casino Battle Royal. That I'd say was all but confirmed from that point.
I would say at this point, it's arguable that AEW has the best referee staff right now.
Yeah.
And quite possibly one of the best commentary teams as well. There's a few people that are missing because obviously they can't because they work other places. But they got everybody that they could.
I'm yet to be sold on whoever the non-wrestling guy is.
Marvez?
Yeah.
I think, honestly, he's going to come into play for the statistic side of AEW.
Hopefully.
He's going to be the guy that's going to be telling us how the moves hurt the superstars, and that's the only thing I can think of he'd be good for. Because he's not going to do play-by-play. That's what Jim Ross and Excalibur are for.
My only concern is Excalibur gonna be heel?
We shall see.
Because I don't think Jim sort of trying to put over the bad guys is going to be a good thing. Because there needs to be somebody to sort of cause the sort of chemistry of like somebody being bad and somebody being good. Yeah.
Well,
that's why Lawler and JR worked. That's why, to some extent, Taz and Cole worked.
Right.
JBL and Cole.
Well, think about it here. You also have the pictures that we've seen on Instagram of all three of them sitting, like, doing commentary.
Yeah.
So, obviously, they're learning how to gel with each other properly.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt.
And I know from good experience, it's not easy to gel with some people.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have chemistry with somebody, it's not there. So right away, they're at a disadvantage because they're, for the most part, untested. I mean, obviously they have a little bit, but they just have a little pre-work that they have done so far. But now it's kind of like it's time to really throw them into prime time on TNT and see what they're made of.
Yeah.
I have complete, total faith this show's not going to put me to sleep.
Oh, I don't think it will do that. I just have concerns about it. You know, the fact that it's TNT, but everywhere is calling it TNT drama, even though everybody refers to it as TNT.
The
So
Twitter account, I think, is TNT Drama, actually.
Yeah, but the press release is TNT Drama.
Right. I think that's the new branding of the show, of the channel.
Yeah, but why?
That's just what it is. That's what their bread and butter is.
What was wrong with the whole branding? Are they thinking just because the word TNT's there, it's gonna? Oh no, it's WCW Nitro. It's gonna be shit. Like, I hope it isn't, because it's like, where do you go see NBA basketball sports? TNT Drama. If it's a boring match which is over by the third quarter, it's not very dramatic.
Well, to be fair, obviously, I'm a big WCW guy, and if this is Nitro 2.0 and for the new millennium, I'm totally good with it.
The big issue I also have as well is TNT's platform, because they're not very online savvy. Maybe Bleacher Report is trying to do that, but like,
that would make the most sense to me.
I'm trying to work out what they're going to do in terms of getting the sort of pinnacle, well, not pinnacle recognition, but getting the widest visibility on their stuff.
Right.
Especially when they're wording that the matches will be airing on a to be determined night of the week. That's the thing. We don't even have a date. We just know the deal's been signed. And that they seem to be indicating that they're seasons of sorts. Because they're describing it as a league rather than a company.
If it's done right, I don't have a problem with that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is going to be the catalyst for a change in professional wrestling.
I mean, let's hope.
And it needs to be, because WWE cannot rest on the laurels of a handful of talent anymore. People are turning off in droves. People that have been fans for years are just like, I don't really want to watch this anymore. I mean, their ratings are still there. It's just their fan base is terrible.
Yeah. But I don't know. There's certainly I'm certainly excited by what it brings, but
totally.
At the same time, I'm hoping that they do it right, and they're not trying to jump before they've started to learn to walk.
See, the thing is, they wouldn't have put this. Tony Khan is not a dumb person, clearly. So it's clear to me that he knows what he's doing, or he would not have jumped in head first into this venture. This is a lot of money that's being put down on something that may or may not work, a very niche product. He would not make a business decision like this if he didn't know that it was going to work.
Yeah, I'd hope. Problem is, I've seen in various different sports and businesses how things like this have happened. You know, okay, a lot of them were sort of takeovers rather than sort of startups like this.
Right.
But even in the case of some startups, eventually sort of, because they haven't managed to sort of topple the market leader, if you will.
It's true.
Eventually just becomes they have to give up because they can't compete.
And for everybody that is running their mouth right now thinking that, oh, this is going to fall apart, I'll tell you right now, I honestly don't think it is. If they're going down swinging.
Yeah, I mean,
This isn't Impact on Monday night. This is something completely different.
I'm currently like 5% that it goes under at some point.
I don't think it's
a few years.
I don't think it's going
but
under.
I'm 95% sure it isn't.
I would not. I would even say I'd say 3% at this point, and I'll say right now, I'll even put it out there. It would not shock me whatsoever. We've talked about a collaboration to take down the juggernaut that is the WWE. And I honestly think if this works out, we could see the mega promotion that we've been waiting forever for. You know, the promotion in EWR that pops up when you have too much money and they have to take you down, they start signing everybody to contracts. That's what we're getting towards. We're going to see Ring of Honor, because it's going to have to, because if not, it's going to crumble. And you're going to see New Japan working with them. You're going to see Triple A's already working with them. I mean, you have a lot of promotions that all they have to do is be like, we have a common goal. Let's band together and make this work. And then everybody wins. Everybody has a place to work. Everybody makes money. And everybody's happy.
Let's hope.
And that's what we need as wrestling fans right now to hope this succeeds. Whether you're the biggest WWE homer on the message boards or not, when it comes down to it, you want this to succeed, because if not, what are you going to have? You're going to have the same trite garbage every single week, the same predictable matches with the same god-awful commentary, and a few minor bright spots that make a couple of segments worth watching, and the rest you could just fast forward on your DVR.
But what happens to Tom Savini?
He's an intelligent man that makes great masks. We'll talk about the new 52 Joker in a little bit. Don't worry.
True. I was thinking less of that, and we'll get to it. I'll talk about it. But
oh, that's one thing I will be able to chime in on. One of only a few things.
Trying to see.
But coming from a podcast that devoted an entire end segment for the entire run that Cody did on the Indies, you obviously know that this network is 100% all in with AEW, and we will be promoting it pretty much ahead of almost anything else.
I mean, certainly ahead of Impact pay-per-views.
Instead of any other pay-per-views, except, well, I mean, again, I don't care about Money in the Bank this week. There's one thing that really made me interested that happened that should have happened all along. But the thing about it is, I mean, whether we do a live show on Sunday, which I can't say yes or no because I don't know yet, or we just talk about it on Monday or Tuesday, or Wednesday, I will state. Well, no, I mean, Darren and Howard are going to be in this week. So, I mean, I may not be available on Monday or Tuesday. I guess we'll see. But the thing is, when we do talk about it, there's not that much that I'm really looking forward to, because I don't care. You're not giving me much of a reason to care. And I can say the same, sadly, as much as I hate to say it, I can say the same thing about Ring of Honor right now.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we'll get to those things. Oh, dear God. Right, so the other AEW stuff. The Best Friends are finally no longer in the Battle Royal. They're in tag team action.
My God.
Against Angelico and Jack Evans.
That match right there.
Except that isn't the one I'm more interested in. The other one I'm more interested in.
Go ahead.
Because apparently on January 4th, you know, that day that's known by a lot of New Japan fans. In the morning, Tokyo Yoshi did I guess, feeder show. I guess the equivalent to all the indie shows that happen at WrestleMania weekend
No, that makes
in
sense.
Korakuen. There was a tag match that featured Yuka Sakazaki and Rio, which I heard a lot of good things about. So the fact that they're on opposite sides of a 6-woman tag sounds very promising. So yeah, it's Hikaru Shida, Rio, and Ryu Mizunami taking on Amy Sakura, Yuka Sakazaki, and fucking Aja Kong.
This show is going to be fantastic.
We're getting some proper Yoshi stuff in.
Yep.
We're getting, I guess, what we could now label part 2 of OWE versus SCU.
Yep.
Because part 1 in China got uploaded to AEW's YouTube channel. We're getting Hangman Page and Pac. We're getting the Omega Jericho rematch, which if Jericho gets injured, that's going to fuck up Dominion, isn't it? Part of me is wondering whether Jericho is actually winning that to make him look strong against Okada when he loses.
Could be Broadway. I can't see the main event of AEW's first pay-per-view under the new branding being like that. I can't see it ending in a no contest.
No. I honestly think Jericho's winning. Because what would be the best hook for the opening show? Or All Out, if
The
that's
rematch.
what they're going to call it.
The rubber match between the two.
2 out of 3 falls.
Exactly.
They did with Okada.
Yep.
But at the same time, it's making Jericho look strong to make him look like a credible contender for Okada. Literally 2 weeks afterwards. Young Bucks against Lucha Brothers, so that's going to be sort of a mix of, high-flying tag team stuff and obviously the Lucha style.
I think Pentagon and Phoenix are going to win the titles back.
Cody and Dustin, the battle of the generations, if you will.
That's going to be fun.
Britt Baker, Nyla Rose, and Kylie Ray in the triple threat women's match. Showcasing more of the Western style than what you're obviously going to get with the 6-woman Yoshi affair.
Right.
The Battle Royal on the pre-show. And then, of course, Sammy Guevara versus Kip Sabian in the Buff Boy special.
So here's the thing. I got 2 ways to go with the Battle Royal.
Mm-hmm.
One, I give the win to Joey Janela.
I would not be surprised if he's the Joker.
Or 2, you give it to somebody that is debuting that we don't know about yet.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, seeing Jon Moxley versus Pac or seeing Jon Moxley against Hangman Page could be interesting, but I'm talking about someone else. It could be anybody, really. The person, honestly, should be the person that wins the Battle Royal, should be the newest signing for All Elite Wrestling, and that's Joey Ryan.
There is a problem with that, Owen.
Yeah, he's doing AEW that night, isn't he?
The same night, yeah. I think they leave. They don't have to bring Joey immediately. There's still enough you can eke out in terms of storyline.
You saw that Bar got announced, right? at the end of the month, where Bar Wrestling is bringing Joey in to make his official announcement where he's going live and the future of Bar Wrestling.
All right.
That got announced this morning or this afternoon.
When you
At some
said
point while I was working today.
When you said Bar, I thought, oh my God, Sheamus is going to be a trainer. AEW. I was getting my hopes up there, and I got let down.
We got more. Speaking of Joey Janela, we got more GCW news this week too.
Uh-oh.
I believe we have another person in the Tournament of Survival.
Hang on.
If I'm imagining things. Masato Tanaka will be at Escape from LA officially on August 9th. Crushed Up on June 20th has the match that should be interesting. Philadelphia gets Nick Gage versus Tony Deppen for the GCW World Title. And yes, Tournament of Survival was announced on June 1st at the Showboat in Atlantic City. The Great Sasuke versus Jimmy Lloyd.
That's interesting. If I try and search for... Oh, wow. That's why I couldn't find the name. GC Wrestling _.
And we also welcome Madman Pondo to the Deathmatch Hall of Fame. Someone I know very, very well.
Might be interesting. I'm trying to see. Oh yeah, Escape from LA got announced.
Yep.
For August. With Dustin Thomas there, because of course he is.
And Masato Tanaka.
Meet and greet with the Invisible Man. Featuring Bryce Remsburg. Oh, Bryce is going to be making his money. Oh, I like the poster as not seen on Trojan Spring Break because he's invisible. I love it, Muggle.
So good.
Is that the full 8 now that we know?
That's what it looks like.
Oh, I've got to zoom in on the picture. So yeah, Suke, Sakuda, Jimmy Lloyd, Gage, Colon, G Raver, Kodaka, and or invite. Okay. Anyway, let's jump into London town. So the Miz TV with Rome was all right and whatever, but then of course this result is in a tag match with Lashley and Elias taking them on, which goes to DQ because Shane just goes in for the beatdown. It was like, oh. Which means Reigns practically did nothing in the match. Why are we protecting him? Also, why are we doing a UK tour right before a pay-per-view where everybody's going to be fucking knackered? So if there's a whole spate of injuries on Sunday, you know why. They didn't plan this through. There was a big, long video package as well for Seth and AJ. I don't know what this is. Showing all these long video packages. Even had AJ in WCW. It was just weird. So then they got the Strowman stuff talking about Sammy. With Strowman saying my only regret was that Sammy wasn't turned into a cube, and Zayn's arguing about what happened. And it eventually resulted in a Falls Count Anywhere match with Zayn versus Strowman, with Strowman's place up for grabs. Then Mojo Rawley beat Apollo Crews in 68 seconds. The crowd were just like, who's this fuck? And we know Apollo Crews. Who's this fuck? Who's this other fuck in the ring with face paint on that makes him look like a wannabe Tapau? So then Bliss is on her phone, apparently with missing luggage, and Nikki Cross comes in, not in her manic state. No, she's like, I've been here for 4 weeks and nobody's noticed, and Bliss is very sucky up to her, and he's like, I can try and find a replacement for you, Nikki. Also, Nikki was like, I can try and find, a replacement for your spot, Miss Bliss. I'm not trying to activate the thing. And eventually, Nikki gets the spot instead, so we'll get to that. The double contract signing with Charlotte, Lacey, and Becky. The crowd did not give a damn about Charlotte. The crowd did not give a damn about Lacey. The only one they gave a damn about is Lynch. Oh, and bloody Lacey saying how she looks like a lady. After she put Becky through the table, she puts her hand to her mouth, I guess to avoid running lipstick. But the way it looked like she had done it was if she was wiping bloody jizz off her face after a cum shot.
Oh my god.
It just doesn't look right. She may be a so-called lady, and I'm still amazed that they're running all the publicity about still her being this Marine and how she's been dealing with oppression to try and get the look at this when she wins the title, and I'm like, she's a heel. You want to use this story on her when she's a face, and don't do it wrong like they did with Booker T back in 2003. Admittedly, Booker T was a face in that one and not a heel. But that's what I'm trying to say. The whole story of her rough, childhood is something that's worth pursuing for when she has a face run. But I've got a feeling, God, let's hope Becky can bring a good match out of her. Because if she don't, I fear that it'll be Becky the one that gets the blame and not Lacey. Unless Lacey does something very, very sort of botchy that'll make them go, yeah, we're not interested in you. Even Liv Morgan has more potential, and she's disappeared ever since the Superstar shakeup. Admittedly, she's on SmackDown, but still. Baron Corbin beat Ricochet because reasons.
God. I really hope they're not dumb enough to give Corbin the briefcase on Sunday.
No. The problem is they did that in the dark match, so.
Okay, that's good.
That ain't happening, I think. So, then of all things, admittedly, there was a sort of interesting spot when Corbin was going up the ladder and Ricochet pushed it down and therefore throwing Corbin out the ring. So Rey Mysterio says that Joe crossed the line by targeting my kid. And Cesaro shows up just randomly and says, "Do you think that's a bit rude? Considering, he isn't here to respond to it? And also, why do you keep bringing your kid to work?" And he's like, "Look, Dominic's been training and traveling the road." And Cesaro goes, "I don't care, but I noticed how Dominic's way taller than you. It's more as if Samoa Joe's his dad rather than you." And I'm like, "Look, we know who Dominic's dad is. They did a fucking t-shirt for it. God bless you, Eddie." In which case, does that mean Eddie is somehow related to Samoa Joe? Who knows? There was a weird bit in this as well, in which Mysterio chucked a suitcase at Cesaro, which Cesaro just caught, as if it was like some sort of skit from the 1970s. Not wrestling skit, like dodgy comedy skit from, I don't know, what comedies were there in the 70s?
There's a lot, but nothing comes immediately to mind.
Was Mork and Mindy 70s? Or was it 80s? I'm talking that sort of thing, though. It was just like, what's that doing in a wrestling show?
Late 70s.
Yeah, so maybe that. Then another video package for Roman Reigns, because of course there is. Then apparently, because I'm trying to think who's the. Oh, I guess Charlie is the head, the head questioner, because Sarah Schreiber's there. She's already got promoted from NXT that quickly to do interviews with AJ. And it was like, this is going to be a big interview. And he's like, this is Monday Night Rollins. At least it was until I showed up, and I'll be champion. It was just like, wow. What a letdown. Also, he did say that, the forearm I hit Seth with last week was meant for Corbin. It was an accident. So why did he walk away like that? I mean, okay, he didn't have a smirk on his face, but it's not like he was disappointed with himself that clearly. So then the women's match, which actually went 9 minutes. Holy shit. It went long. Naomi said no one in the match can compete with her. Dana said the match would be a validation of our hard work. Natalia talked about her experience of being in all the women's Money in the Bank ladder matches. And Bliss said she won last year and cashed in on the same night. So, 2 times. And then Nikki came out just as her manic self. So the calm side she presented, completely random. And lo and behold, Nikki wins with a neck breaker off the middle rope. Or swinging neck breaker off the middle rope. And then Bliss and Cross set up the ladder. Cross goes to climb up. But Bliss is like, no, let me. And amazingly, she does. And grabs the briefcase. So, I don't think Amazon speaker device Bliss will win, considering the image that was presented. There was a Sami Zayn straight to camera promo, and a Samoa Joe selfie promo for some reason. Then Mysterio and Cesaro had a pretty good 10.5-minute match, as you'd expect, really, from them.
Right.
Cesaro even went for I guess what you could call a Swiss 1-9, but failed. And eventually it was a 619 and a frog splash that got Mysterio the win. Then they had recaps of the Revival's foolishness. And they cut a backstage promo saying that the Usos are weirdo voyeurs and that the ball's in their court if they want to fight. And the embarrassment of the Revival stops right now. Which I guess it did because nothing stupid happened to them. And then Firefly Funhouse happened.
Yay.
I saw this early because of course the show was taped.
Of course.
A tweet I saw it with was just, "Oh my god!" So I was like, "Okay, something interesting's happened. I need to catch this." Which annoyingly was slightly hampered by me watching Detective Pikachu. So yeah, he said it will be revealed, and I don't know whether that's the same thing that he said when he was going under the bloody weird voice box change thing. But Bray has a secret. It's time to show the world what he's been working on. He's learned how to harness and control his darkness. And he asked us, the Fireflies, whether we wanted to see it. Apparently the crowd in the arena went, yes! They didn't need the fake kids going yes, because the crowd were like, yes. So the room basically goes dark, and Bray's got a Tom Savini clown. I mean, it's part Slipknot, part It,
New 52 Joker.
part that as well. But then again, with the way of his sort of trunks being sort of red and white stripes,
Finn.
that sort of gives me more vibes of like Rob Zombie sort of House of a Thousand Corpses style stuff.
Sin, the original Sin Bodhi, Kazarni.
Oh god,
same exact gear and everything.
Certainly like a ringmaster sort of style as well.
Right.
With the jacket. So it was just like, and the crowd are like, yay! And the announcers are just like, what's that shit? They didn't say it, but it's as if like one of the more exciting bits of your product, and you're just going, this is rubbish. This is like, oh god. So then Sarah Schreiber's about to do an interview with Seth before as they go to commercial, and Seth says, "I broke the internet today because apparently, let's just say, Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins are getting active in room 605, if you know what I'm saying." And the way it came out was just weird. Because Becky was smack talking Beth Phoenix, who's doing the house shows for this European tour. For whatever reason. And Beth was just like, you sure you need, I think Becky was talking smack on like Edge or something. And Beth was like, do we need to consult our significant others about this? And Becky just like tweeted, I don't know. I'll ask at WWE Seth Rollins. It's just like, what a way to announce it. And then Seth does it via an Instagram thing where more people are interested by like WWE's head of social media guy in the background with a look at the two sort of hugging and kissing as if it's like, I hate these bastards. Which admittedly he tweeted to and he goes, yes, that's me. Look, it was WrestleMania. It was hot and stuffy backstage. That explains my mood. It's like... Then when we got to the interview, holy shit. They actually referenced, because they were always saying first time ever. And Seth goes, it isn't the first time ever. Because we wrestled 15 years ago. Which is a lie because it was actually 13. They showed a clip of the match that AJ and Tyler Black had back in 2006 from NWA No Limits Wrestling. Which was weird, but good. Just to actually show the old stuff, Much better than AJ's promo. So Sammy and Strowman. Zayn actually got a sign sort of praising him and wiped his boots on it. You've heard the shit about apparently what the Zayn stuff is, haven't you?
Kind of, but not really.
You know who writes Zayn's promos?
No. Vince?
Vince.
Of course.
Because he's using the Sammy character to vent his frustration at the fans for not liking anything he does. I think we realize what the issue here is, Vince. Maybe. Is that why Triple H is pissed at you? Is that why Triple H took a dig at his own dad on NXT tonight? Because bloody Street Profits, when they did their promo on them, when they were there to sort of hand over the belts, they sort of basically went, there you go. We want to challenge you, Ivar and Eric, if that is your real names. And it's just like, wow. Who's writing this? I love him. Eventually Corbin got involved, sort of in the concourse area of the arena, because they went all there into fake merch areas and whatever. And then when it got to backstage, Drew showed up to help out. And then eventually, Strowman got suplexed through a ladder by both Drew and Baron. And then as he was getting up, Drew hits him with a Claymore. Corbin drags Zayn over, puts him on top, gets the 3 count. And Sami Zayn qualifies for Money in the Bank. And he celebrates as Raw goes off the air in most countries. However, in America, it stayed running because Corbin threw Zayn back out for some reason. So Strowman put Sami Zayn through the announce table. And then Raw went off the air for everybody else. So it's weird that they had a dark segment that actually aired on Raw. Or in America at least, but didn't air in a few other countries. Very confusing. So the stuff to come from this, allegedly, there's some people believing, read into this what you will, because it's dirt sheets and whatever, that the reason Strowman isn't in it is because there's heat on him for that botched WrestleMania spot in the Battle Royal.
Yeah.
With Harper and Ali. Supposedly Braun felt like he did nothing wrong, and I think that's a bit sort of bullshit, but at the same time, I guess that's indicating to me more that they're wanting a heel winning.
I think Sami Zayn's winning.
No. Wrong man.
No, that's the right answer.
No, the right answer is Drew.
No.
Drew is the guy that's been deserving of knocking on that door for years.
That's why
even when he wasn't in the company.
That's why
no,
he
does.
doesn't need it.
He does. Mainly because we need a British world fucking champion.
Well,
and by God,
Thanks, Tina.
That's bad news.
Yeah, exactly. Should have been. Oh, I've been wanting Sami Zayn as a world champion for a long time, and I've been talking about it happening.
Well, I think that's coming. But they've stressed that whoever gets the briefcase this year, at least on the men's side, the idea is that it's going to be not asked about with. So for me, that means the intention is that he's winning. And part of me just feels that it would be better for Drew to do that. If anything, if they could hold off that long, and considering how they need it to pop for ratings, especially when we get to October, November time, cash it in on the Raw that's being taped in November.
Possibly.
I don't even know if we know the there we go. Ha. Read into that how you will, because I'm not entirely sure, because it's only listing some of the dates for some of these shows. But the Monday in November, which is ironically Veterans Day, as in it's literally the 11th of November, is going to be at the Hydro in Glasgow. Because if you want a crowd that's going to go apeshit, have McIntyre cash in then. Have him always there lurking. It doesn't have to be Seth as champion. Then again, I'm trying to think who you could have as a face champion. Maybe AJ Drew? Maybe AJ gets it somewhere down the line? Because I don't want to see Seth Drew, because we've already really seen that, haven't we?
Mm-hmm.
Quite a bit, so that'd be something that's different. But yeah, at the minute, it only lists on some place. Oh, right. Tickets for the November shows go on sale next Wednesday on Ticketmaster. Apparently. Are they actually listed? Not all of them. That's really confusing. So some of the dates have been listed but not actually made official yet, I guess. But they're actually listing WWE Raw in Glasgow, so I guess that means that is where the tapings are going to be. I just think that would pop a better rating, Owen.
Perhaps.
Or at least in terms of live crowds. And, we've seen how well it's actually converted to it, because look at what happened when AJ beat Jinder. ratings actually saw a spike despite the fact people knew what had happened. And, you know, to have the first British world champion to be crowned in Britain, I think would be big. Now, I would say we're going to SmackDown, but the problem is it felt way too much like Raw because it starts with Roman Reigns. Who wants to bring out The Miz because of the wild card rule. And Shane goes, "Oh, no, he isn't. He's banned from the show." And then it becomes a 4-on-1 beatdown by Browan and Rowan as well as Shane and Elias. Except here come the Usos with the save. So we're getting a 4-on-3 handicap match. And if Miz gets involved, the cage match is cancelled. Apparently. It was brilliant. So Orton did a promo on the mic and said, "Oh, I'm going to win Money in the Bank again because you can't have a Money in the Bank without an RK." And then he dropped the mic because he couldn't be bothered to say "oh," which just looked a bit tacky. It was a decent 4-way between them, but at the same time, it's like, ugh. Andrade winning with a hammerlock DDT. So he goes, climbs up the ladder, poses on the top, as if he's going to go for the briefcase. Except here comes Richard O'Shea's music, runs down to the ring, basically leapfrogs over the rope straight onto the ladder, climbs straight to the top, knocks off Andrade and takes the briefcase. So we know that Ricochet isn't winning. Then Carmella says, "I'm winning Money in the Bank. And I'm Spartacus." Xavier and Kofi backstage saying that he's going to have Kofi's back when he's on the KO show and says, "Don't. You're injured. You're good." So then Charlotte comes out and says this Sunday is the culmination of her feud with Becky and it will end with her as SmackDown Women's Champion. And then they had a very good video package looking at the history of Becky and Charlotte over the years. Interestingly, also showing the face turn of Becky Lynch back at SummerSlam. Remember that face turn, Owen? That face turn? That face turn by Becky when all the commentators were going, "How despicable this is from Becky. What a heel she is. What a great face turn." And then Charlotte never came back. She just came out to introduce a video package, and that was it.
All right.
And they say, they're having their match on Sunday, and also Becky's facing Lacey Evans, and randomly Lacey Evans is in the back, saying everybody's focused on Charlotte and Becky. Nobody's talking about my match. When literally 30 seconds before, they mentioned that the match is happening. And she promised to win the title. And then Aleister Black cuts a artsy promo, making him fade to black and all that. Then the heels beat the faces in the 4-on-3 handicap match, with Shane winning with a coast-to-coast dropkick, with then Miz coming out afterwards. So obviously, because it was afterwards, it was sort of fine. So then we had Ember Moon saying, I'm going to win. And then Bayley saying, I'm going to win. And then the Iconics are on commentary for Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville versus Asuka and Kairi saying, except they're called the Kabuki Warriors. We had the Viking Warriors. We had the Kabuki Warriors.
I hate both of these names.
Supposedly, the Kabuki Warriors was a name chosen by the two women.
No, they chose Kabuki Girls.
Well, the stress is Kabuki, except the historical connotations of Kabuki for women is it was a front for prostitution.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Which is why it's only mainly done by males at the minute. So, so basically, Sonya had the match won, but Mandy demanded the tag. Went for the pin. Asuka reversed it into a schoolgirl, I guess. And Kabuki Warriors win. And Mandy Rose doesn't even get the chance to sort of talk about Money in the Bank. She's that much of an also-ran. So Kayla is about to interview Lars Sullivan. But as she's trying to bring out a question, she just sort of runs off because she's so scared. The thing that was awkward about this, earlier that day it was announced that Lars Sullivan had been fined $100,000 and is going to undergo sensitivity training for his previous comments back in the day. So that's how we make Lars look strong, but not by making him do anything. Otherwise, it would cause problems. So then Kofi and Owen sort of have a nice little video package, in all honesty.
Mm.
It was a very good video package as well with Owens, with him stressing, like, you know, didn't take me 11 years to make my impact in the company. And it highlights, you know, him sort of beating Cena in the first match, you know, on the main roster. So they brawled. They went into the sort of ramp area, and out comes Sami Zayn with Tom Phillips shouting, "He's the fourth man. He's the fourth wild card." No, I think it was he's the fourth wild card. And I'm like, oh my god. Can we stop? You know, it's like it's 3. No, it's 4. No, it's 5. No, it's an indeterminate number. No, it's 4. There's been no actual confirmation. Then Xavier came out to say, but the heels got sort of on top. But then Kofi dodges the cannonball attempt and hits the Trouble in Paradise on Zayn. So Kofi looks strong. But
Yeah.
so does the heel. What's going on? Weird booking. And then speaking of weird booking, Humberto Carrillo beats Jack Gallagher, Mandrews, and James Drake in a fatal 4-way. And Tony Nese beats Ligero in a non-title match.
We just announced, GCW just announced something as you were talking.
Uh-oh.
So
what I'm trying to say is, at least 205 Live, the UK stuff, which is like something that you might want to push, it's absolutely buried. Meanwhile, while Raw was happening, you know what was happening on the SmackDown house show, Owen?
What's that?
Volta beating R-Truth to retain the UK title.
Wow.
Why didn't we get that on SmackDown? Anyway, GCW.
We're talking about Wombat.
Oh.
Wombat returns, being promoted by the Invisible Man, of course, July 20th, 7 p.m. in Tullahoma, Tennessee at the Gypsy Joe Arena, featuring superstar Bill Dundee, elite wrestling star Jumpin' Joey Janela, the Smokin' Buds, Psychomedic Uncle Biff, DJ Arp, the Carnies, Effie, and Game Changer Wrestling Champion Nick Gage.
Well, that's just random.
The great thing about the Gage picture, it is clearly a picture from CZW.
Probably. Oh wow, price for Double or Nothing on Bleacher Report Live is going to be $50. Oof. Oof. Oof.
What's funny about this is that this show is promoted by Bad Boy Tanning Salon, Pat Lloyd's Burger World, and MDK Bank of Tullahoma.
What?
It'll be a meet and greet with all of the professional wrestlers with 30 exclamation points.
Oh, apparently Wells Fargo in Philly is advertising these matches for Extreme Rules, which will be the next pay-per-view. Well, I don't know if it's the next one, but it's the one in July anyway. So the matches currently being advertised are Kingston Owens and Randy Orton in a triple threat, Seth versus Corbin in a tables match, Roman versus Shane and Elias in a handicap match,
No.
and AJ versus Drew. Which frees up some things. Apparently. So New Japan was somewhat interesting. So the 3 days that have happened so far. Day one, Tiger Mask Taka Michinoku was pretty decent. Titan beating Kanemaru was a solid match. Marty Scurll beating Jonathan Gresham, which was sort of a different style to the rest, but you know, considering it was going to be very technical from Scurll and Gresham, considering their styles, it was very good in that front. Sho and Shingo had maybe one of the best matches in the history of Best of the Super Juniors. And it's day fucking one, and it's not even Shingo against one of the guys that's going to have an excellent match with him. It was a guy like Sho who had a fucking excellent match. So who knows what Dragon Lee's going to fucking do with Shingo? You know, and that's the thing. Ishimori and Dragon Lee, Ishimori beating Dragon Lee, felt like an anticlimax because of Shingo and Sho. So there you go. Note to self: Shingo is God, apparently. Night 2 saw Block B. So with these, it's easy to tell you who's got 2 points and who's got 0 because everybody that won, is basically going over.
Okay.
So we had we had Dookie beating Ren Narita, of which afterwards Dookie attacked Narita with a pipe. So yeah, from what the reports said, from what it was, Dookie didn't seem that good. Ren Narita seemed pretty impressive. I believe both of these guys are the replacements because El Desperado's injured. I think a fractured jaw, and they couldn't get Flip Gordon's visa sorted in time. Apparently, that's still an issue for New Japan, of all things. There was a good match with Robbie Eagles beating Rocky Romero. El Fantasmo beating Bandido in a sort of surprise result, but a decent match. A decent match between Ospreay and Bushi as well. And then a decent match with Taguchi and Yo. As you can see, there was a lot of decent on the opening block B. And there was a lot of excellent on block A. So I think we know the block of death, if you call it that. So yeah, day 3, which was earlier today. Gresham beat Taka with a nice, and again, a nice sort of technical match playing to Gresham's sort of advantages. Tiger Mask 4 beat Kanemaru. Winning somewhat surprisingly, because basically Kanemaru was trying to put on a figure 4, but Tiger used a small package. So Tiger actually wins. I don't know if he won last year. I can't remember. May have won one. Good match with Shingo beating Titan. So Shingo is 2-0. Taiji Ishimori beat Marty Scurll, so he's also 2-0. Very good match, although there was one spot with a tombstone that got very dodgy. Basically, Scurll went for it, which Ishimori tried to reverse into one of his own, but stumbled and then dropped Marty on his head. And then in turn, bloody Taiji Ishimori might have knocked himself out while tripping and hitting the second rope from going down. So it was just like, jeez. And then Dragon Lee beat Sho in a good main event. The big spot, Dragon Lee goes for his typical tope.
Mm-hmm.
The dive went so far out that he went beyond the gap in between the two announce tables for the Japanese and the English commentary in the building. He flew that fucking far. Remember in AAA when Phoenix had that stupid dive where he sort of went too far and went into the crowd and hit the bloody wife, wife/owner, or the matriarch of the company, whatever you want to call it. It was that sort of distance, but then further still. It was just ridiculous. Shows you how athletic Dragon Lee is. So, yeah, Shingo, Taiji, and Tiger Mask are all undefeated 2-0. Dragon Lee, Titan, Marty Scurll, and Gresham are 1-1. And Kanemaru, Sho, and Taka are 0-2. In terms of what's coming up, I won't say exactly what matches are happening on which shows, but we have one coming up in the next few hours in Aomori, this Thursday, if you want to call it that. Then Saturday and Sunday, they're going to be in Yamagata for, I guess that's a double header of the third round of matches in Blocks A and B. Then 3 straight nights in Kurikan Hall on next Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday as well, as we head into in or around Double or Nothing weekend. With some stuff in Chiba on May 26th as well. Wait, what matches are happening on my birthday that aren't Double or Nothing? Because technically that's on my birthday, because it'll be 1 o'clock in the morning here. So I'm counting it. Oh wow, that show's actually going to have Block A and Block B matches. It's going to be a double header. Showing Taiji, Osprey, and Eagles. Dragon Lee and Taka. Yo and El Fantasmo, Tiger Mask, Shingo. At least that looks a decent card for the B-Day. I don't mean Beyonce B-Day. Now available on some service. So, now we're trying to get track of everything that fucking happened this past week. So, Ring of Honor, War of the Worlds, Toronto. Open with Bullet Club beating Alex Coughlin, Carl Connors, and Carl Fredericks. Yuji Nagata beat Silas Young by DQ. LIJ beat the Kingdom. Roosh beat PJ Black. Briscoes beat Lifeblood of Haskins and Tracy Williams. Lethal beat Kojima. Then in a surprise, Shane Taylor beat Jeff Cobb, Brody King, and Hiroki Goto to become the new Ring of Honor World TV champ. What a bad week it was for Jeff Cobb then, Owen.
Yeah.
Drop the belt to Taichi of all people, and then drop the in New Japan, and then drop the Ring of Honor belt to, of all people, Shane Taylor.
Yeah.
And then Matt Taven beat PCO. But PCO was still getting up from various stuff. You know, after he lost, he still got up and did PCO things. Because of course he did. Just seeing if anything important happened on. I'm trying to see. It doesn't look like Pac's. Oh no, Pac was in a 10-man tag match at one of the Dragon Gate shows at Kurikan. But no title changes. Rev Pro's Epic Encounter from Friday. We opened with Gabriel Kidd beating Brendan White. Josh Bodum and Charles Samuels beating Curtis Chapman and Dan McGee. Chris Brooks with Kid Lycos in corner beating Artemis Spencer. Matt Sydal victorious over A-Kid. In the scramble match, Rob Lyas beat TK Cooper, Shigehiro Irie, Carlos Roma, and Michael Hoku. Then Aussie Open beat Suzuki Goon of Sabre Jr. and Suzuki to become the new Rev Pro Tag Champs. So that happened. And then also in a ladder match, El Fantasmo beat David Starr. So not a bad thing for El Fantasmo to have in his maybe around his ways as part of the New Japan shows. Haven't been able to catch him yet, but to know whether he's actually got him on. Next, PWG Mystery Vortex 6. Something that I don't remember being noted on previous shows, but there was literally nobody selling merch before the show started. So I guess they had a lot of merch sales after the first half and after the main event then. So we had Trey Miguel beat Tony Deppen. Chuck Taylor beat Orange Cassidy. That must have been awkward. Jeff Cobb retaining the PWG World title over Jonathan Gresham.
Well, he kept that belt.
But they put that on match 3. For some reason. In a 3-way, Brody King beat Jake Atlas and Trent. Jungle Boy beat Puma King. the Rascals retain their tag titles against Flamita and Ray Horus. And the Guerrilla Warfare match, as it turned out, was Darby Allin beating Joey Janela. That probably was pretty crazy. Then, I guess earlier that night, because it would have been, I think it was in the afternoon, the Shine show from Friday. Shine 58 started off with Allison Kay beating Samantha Heights in the main event in the opening match. Allison Kay becoming Shine champion the week before, I think in Tokyo Joshi. She went over there and got the belt back, which was a pretty good match. Brandy Lauren beat Thunder Kitty. Lindsay Snow over Marty Bell. Santana beat Kimberly. Shotzi Blackheart beat Aya Pereira to become the new Shine Nova champion. Evilise victorious over Natalia Markova. Mercedes Martinez beat Sue Young. And Rainbow Bright retained of Gabby Gilbert and Luscious Latasha beat the Twisted Sisters of Holly Dead and Thunder Rosa in the Lumberjill match to keep those belts. Straight after that was Evolve 127 in the same building in Michigan. We had Adrian Jaude beating Josh Briggs, Stephen Paynter over Liam Gray, Babatunde. Oh, God. Babatunde's there. Everybody run. Beating Adrian Alanis. Anthony Green over Stephen Wolf. Anthony Henry victorious over Yuntai. The Skulk of AR Fox and Leon Ruff beating Cassius Ono and Harlem Bravado. Brandy Lauren over Randy West. Kurt Stallion beating Eddie Kingston. JD Drake beating Joe Gacy to retain his WWE World Championship. And then Adam Cole beat Austin Theory in a non-title match. Because Adam Cole, baby. I guess. Then some of the Saturday stuff. Shikara's Infinite Gauntlet. Ooh, interesting one. So Still Life of Apricots and Pears beat Fifant to retain the Young Lions Cup. Lucas Calhoun and Stray Cat beat Fist of Icarus and Travis Huckabee. So not a bad way to show your intent by actually beating the tag champs. Obviously, unless you have 3 points, you can't get a chance. I'm trying to work out whether that means Stray Cat and Calhoun have 3 points now. I'm not sure. The Wildebeest with Jakob Hammermeyer beat Missile Assault Man. The Colony Fire Ant and Green Ant beat the Creatures of the Deep of Cajun Crawdad and Murloc. And then the interesting one, which I'm trying to see if I can find the write-up for. There it is. So the gauntlet started with Boomer Hatfield and Danger Hawk. Danger Hawk winning last year. So pretty big. We had I won't actually sort of name all the eliminations, but I will name the order that they came out. So 3 Sonny DeFarge, 4 Dasher Hatfield, 5 Ice Cream Jr., 6 Nighthawk, 7 Kobold, 8 Frantic, 9 Fireman's Carry Frey, 10 Cornelius Crummels, number 11 Blank, Molly McCoy, number 12, Volgar, number 13, Snapmare Matt, number 14, John Francis of Coronado, 15, Armbreaker Amir, 16, Workaround, 17, Rick Rowland, 18, Officer Warren Barksdale, 19, The Whisper, 20, Jawbreaker Josu. Now this was interesting. Because at this point, something started happening. The Crucible is what they're giving the nickname to the stable of everybody that's sort of come through the Wrestle Factory and been trained by Ophidian. And they start looking under the ring. And the idea is the group of them cause distractions with the other wrestlers while they start loosening the top rope at one of the corners. And then in another corner, as number 22, Olo the Usurper, and number 23, Ball James, and number 24, Unsocial Jordan came in. And then Enziguri Evan, number 25. Hermit Crab, 26. And then loosening another turnbuckle. Shazza McKenzie, number 27. Razorhawk, number 28. Number 29, Duke the Dumpster Drosy. Of all people. Number 30, Hallowicked. Number 31, Our Hair the Ice Cream. Number 32, Solo Darling. So at this point, the only people that are in the ring are Solo Darling, Whisper, Enziguri Evan, and Hallowicked. We still got one person to come in. So Evan picks up both Solo and Whisper, trying to, I guess, probably protect both of them. Maybe. Because they've obviously both come through the Wrestle Factory and are proteges, if you will. But Hallowicked kicked Evan. Except because of the loosened top rope, because of it being loose on every turnbuckle, all three get eliminated, and Hallowicked, who did the kick. So the buzzer rings, even though I don't think there was a buzzer. And out comes Ophidian, number 33. Not ironically, but the actual teacher of the people at the Wrestle Factory. Are you following this, Owen? Oh, God, Owen fell asleep. I find it interesting. Ophidian just walks out, gets in the ring, the bell rings, Ophidian wins by default because everybody else was eliminated.
Huh.
What a genius thing to do. I've always wondered whether you could have a battle royal where the last person comes in not having to do anything and just basically sort of pose and whatever. But it was all the people that worked on doing those ropes and planning together to make sure that Ophidian had his chance. So really interesting. However, it got more interesting afterwards because Boomer showed up again and called his dad out. And Dasha said, and this is, transcribed by apparently Lil Dude 8218. Dasha said, "Listen here, you little disappointment. I've wasted 10 years fighting for this title, fighting for these people, and it was nothing but failure after failure. It wasn't until I started fighting for myself that I became a respectable champ. And until I get that through your thick skull, you'll be nothing but a disappointment. You won't deserve to carry my bags. You don't deserve to wrestle in my ring. You don't deserve my last name. And you don't deserve to be wearing my mask." Boomer said, "My entire life I've looked up to you. My dad taught me about sportsmanship, following the rules and hard work. When I look at you, I don't see those values anymore. I see a liar, I see a cheater, I see a bully, and as far as I'm concerned, you aren't my dad. So Dasher and Boomer fought, and Bacabella intervened, and he wasn't going to tolerate the fighting, and made a ruling there, and right on the spot. May 26th, Dasher Hatfield versus Boomer Hatfield in a mask versus mask match. So Shikara's going serious crazy in a couple of weeks with that. Very interesting. Now I got distracted by that. Eve Wrestling had their 9th anniversary show. She persisted. We had Erin Angel and Yetta beating Kaylee Ray and Viper. Laurie DiMatteo over Charlie Evans. Little Miss Roxy beating Nicole Matthews. Ginny victorious over Bobby Tyler. Nightshade beating Rebel Kinney. And Nina Samuels beating Jamie Hayter in the main event. Then I won't go through the rest of them. See if the other stuff. That's that one. Oh, there we go. The Evolve 128 results. That's what I was looking for. Probably. And all the other stuff. So Evolve 128. Anthony Green beat Steve Painter. Adrian Jude over Harlan Bravado. In the 4-way, Leon Ruff got the win over Brandon Taggart, Yuntai, and Stephen Wolf. Babatunde over Liam Gray. Oh, God, he won again. Kurt Stallion over Ace Perry. Austin Theory retained the Evolve title against the Nate Spider Webb. Shotzi Blackheart over Natalia Markova. Cassius Ono beat Josh Briggs. The Unwanted of Gacy and Kingston retained the tag belts over Anthony Henry and JD Drake. And then Adam Cole beat AR Fox. Because Adam Cole, baby. So then Grand Rapids, Michigan for Ring of Honor. I think that night 3. Coast to Coast beat Fredericks and Coughlin. Kelly Klein beat Stacey Shadows in sort of a match that went nowhere. With the Allure showing up afterwards, putting their logo on Stacey's head with lipsticks. And yeah, apparently that's the Allure is still a thing, despite the fact it looks like it's literally been thrown out of something that's 20 years old, and not in a good way. Not in a nostalgia, in a Dalton Castle beat Cheeseburger and Clark Connors in a triple threat, showing his fierce side apparently. The Kingdom, beat the Gorillas of Destiny of the usual Gorillas and Hikuleo. Flip Gordon and beat Rhett Titus. LIJ beat the Bouncers. Tracy Williams beat Roosh, Eli Essam, and PJ Black in a 4-corner survival match. Matt Taven beat Mark Haskins to retain his title. And then Kojima, Nagata, Goto, and Lethal and Cobb beat Bully Ray, Shane Taylor, Silas Young, and the Briscoes in a big old 10-man smorgasbord. So then for the TV tapings that acted as the final act of the War of the World stuff. So we had Rhett Titus beating Ryo, Flip Gordon over Carl Hendricks. Jeff Cobb then calls out Matt Taven and challenges him for a title match, which Taven teases, but it doesn't happen. Silas Young has a European wrestling exhibition, which ends with him low blowing the opponent. Kenny King beat Jay Lethal, with Kenny King no longer being blinded by Great Muta's Mist, apparently. The Allure cut a promo leading to Jenny Rose and Kelly Klein beating the shit out of them, apparently. The Bouncers won a 4 corners match over Kingdom Coast to Coast and Alex Coughlin and Clark Connors, the young lions from New Japan. Josh Woods won a 10-second squash match. Evil and Sanada beat Nagata and Kojima. The Gorillas of Destiny beat the Briscoes, which was streamed live on Honor Club. Allison Kay beat Marty Bell in terms of NWA stuff. I don't know if it was for the belt or not. Mark Haskins was confronted by Bully Ray during an in-ring promo, setting up Bully Ray and Shane Taylor versus Haskins and Tracy Williams with a big brawl. PJ Black trying to make the save, but getting put for a table instead. Colt Cabana wrestled James Storm to a draw for the national title. And then the Briscoes attacked Cabana afterwards and declared that the NWA screwed them, so now they're getting the NWA back. Nick Aldis getting laid out as well because of it, for some reason. Hiroki Goto beating Hiko Leo. Silas Young beat a masked wrestler named the Squid. Apparently that's happening. Dalton Castle cut a promo challenging Dragon Lee to face him at the Best in the World pay-per-view. Should be an interesting one. Kelly Klein and Jenny Rose versus the Allures. Mandy Rose and Angelina Love never happened because the Allure attacked them during the ring entrance. This women's wrestling seems to be fucking stupid, doesn't it? PJ Black and Mark Haskins and Tracy Williams beat Cheeseburger, Ryan Nova, and Eli Isom. And then Jeff Cobb won a 4 corners match over Roosh, PCO, and Jay Lethal to get a future Ring of Honor title match. I would not be surprised if that's the Best in the World in June. Would you say, Owen? Oh, God. I've just seen the headline. Owen, did you see the sad news from MLW last week?
I did not.
Oh, sorry. The good news, the Von Erichs are signed.
I saw that, yes.
The bad news, Austin Aries is coming to MLW.
Interesting.
Why? Why is he there? Thought he gave up on this shit. Ugh. So, AEW's Take No Prisoners from Saturday. In the opening freeway, Jake Something beat Airwolf and Trey Miguel. Chris Statlander over Clayton Gaines. Josh Alexander beat Adam Brooks. The Rascals beat the Besties in the World. Myron Reed defeated TJP. Then for the Heritage title, MJF retained against Mance Warner. Except then Jake Something, I guess, cashed in something and beat MJF to become the new Heritage champion. Is that because of All Elite? I don't know. Jacob Fatu beat Paco, and then Ace Romero, I guess, in 2 squash matches. Maybe. I don't know. Jessica Havoc retained the women's title against Thunder Rosa. The Lucha Brothers beat Team Tremendous of Bill Carr and Dan Barry. And then Sammy Gallahan retained the heavyweight title over David Starr. Defy Wrestling from Friday in Seattle. War Beast retained the Defy Tag Team and the PCW Ultra Tag Team titles over the American Guns of Mike Santiago and Ethan HD. Guillermo Rosas defeated Travis Williams. Lucha Bros beat Shaft and Chris Ridgway. Filthy Tom Lawler victorious over Weirdo Hero Randy Myers. Cat Power, got one up on Danica Della Rouge. Vaquero Fantasma over Cazador del Arma. And the main event, Sonico and Leon Negro beating Uprising of Judas Icarus and Eli Surge. Defy next round in mid-June. CZW's Tangled Web. The interesting one. Young, Dumb, and Broke won the opening match. That's Jordan Oliver, Griffin McCoy, Ellis Taylor, and Charlie Tiger, beating Above the Rest of Gabriel Sky and Tristan Ty, and IFHY of Sean Kemp and Jonathan Wolf in an 8-person tag. So then Connor Claxton and DJ Hyde came out to announce the winner of Conor Claxton's deathmatch essay contest when Jimmy Chondo Lion jumped the railing. Had apparently got a lot of support for the whole Chondo for TOD, and he wants to be in. And then, lo and behold, Chondo apparently won the essay contest, but then got jumped, and Tremont made the save. Except here comes Anthony Gangon and the New York Wrecking Crew from the House of Glory, with Gangon having a message for Tremont. Hyde went after Gangon, but Tremont stopped him. And Gangon said Tremont's loyal to CZW, but a CZW and DJ Hyde loyal to Tremont. When you tried to leave last year, Matt, DJ did nothing. I want you to join us in House of Glory and our cause. And with Tremont and Hyde arguing, the rep hit the ring. So it left the New York Wrecking Crew face to face with the rep, which became a tag match with the rep winning. Then Casanova Valentine beat Dan O'Hare, but then Matt Travis afterwards hit the ring, called out Jordan Oliver, but instead got Jimmy Rave. Matt Travis still won, mainly thanks to some help from Ken Broadway and New York Wrecking Crew, again from House of Glory. Then the Platinum Honeys of Ava Everett and Angel Sinclair, the World Tag Team Champions in WSU, came out to address the crowd and announced that Anthony Green would be returning on a special Friday show on July 12th, which is the same weekend as Extreme Rules, to challenge for the CZW World Champ, whoever it is. Then Candy Cartwright made her debut in a Platinum Honeys outfit and basically did their entrance and said she wanted to be a Platinum Honey herself. But then Smart Mark Sterling made his return and introduced yours truly, Alex Reynolds, and saying that this was his time and had a message for Green. He dipped Ava Everett and looked like he was going to kiss her, and then super kicked Angel Sinclair. Then laid out Everett, and then Candy Cartwright was cowering in the corner, worried, and Reynolds and Sterling left, pleased that they had beaten the shit out of women. Fred Yehai apparently had travel issues, so he might not be able to arrive before the end of the show. And they kept, apparently saying he was delayed repeatedly due to weather and issues with planes, so Gary J didn't have an opponent. So instead, he was in a three-way with Jimmy Lloyd and Cole Radrick, which Jimmy Lloyd won, then announced himself as a participant in TOD and promised to go back-to-back, and also wanted John Wayne Murdoch in the tournament in a Bundles and Pains of Glass match. So that happened. John Silver beat Matt Tremont to retain the CZW World title. Gangon tried to make his presence felt, but was stopped by DJ Hyde. And during the scuffle, DJ accidentally hit Tremont, which led to Silver to capitalize and get the win. And Masada beat Brandon Kirk in the Tangled Web match, pretty violent as you expect. But then afterwards, Casanova Valentine appeared and said that Masada was a part-timer who got soft, with Casanova promising to win TOD, and that he's going to beat Masada. After he's won TOD, he's going to beat Masada in a no-rope barbed wire match. So either that means Casanova Valentine's winning and the Masada match is coming, or the Masada match happens anyway. Maybe. I don't know. It's complicated. We also saw the return of Wrestle Circus last week in Texas. So the big thing at the start, Brian Cage vacated both the Sideshow and the Big Top titles due to his injuries. So we had tournaments aplenty on the show. So Desmond Xavier beat Scorpio Sky for the Ringmaster title. Oh, sorry, not the Big Top, the Ringmaster title. The Big Top's the tag titles. In a four-way, Leva Bates beat Alex Garcia, Christy James, and Shazza McKenzie. And in terms of the Big Top tag titles, the previous champs, the Dirty Devils, beat the or lost to the Rigel twins, and also lost to the Rascals. The Rascals actually getting the win. So they are the new tag champs. In the 6-way, Lance Hoyt beat Colin Delaney, Fuego del Sol, Pretty Peter Avalon, Spreeder, and Will Orday. Then in the other Ringmaster title tournament match, Sammy Guevara beat Joey Janela. Bit of a surprise there. Puma King beat Jake Atlas. In an OVE rules match, JT Dunn beat Sammy Callahan. So those rules clearly didn't work. Then for the vacant Sideshow title, Gentleman Jervis beat Orange Cassidy. So Jervis Cottonbelly is your new Sideshow champion. And then for the vacant Ringmaster title, Sammy Guevara beats Desmond Xavier to become the new champ. Except then Scorpio Sky came out and wanted his shot, because I guess he was owed one apparently from something, and he won. So shenanigans aside, Scorpio Sky is the best. You can chant bullshit after that. I don't know. Are you awake, Owen?
I'm awake.
Yeah. Because I just wanted to mention this now, but I didn't want to, We'll mention the UFC in a minute, but did you manage to see any of the video of what happened in London on Saturday night?
No.
I guess that's probably for the best. So yeah, Saturday night was a rough night. As we saw the death of Silver King.
Yeah, I heard about that.
The age of only 51. From what it looks like, it was a heart attack, which he suffered in the ring while wrestling Juventud Guerrera as part of the Lucha Libre Forever or Lucha Libre Worldwide, I'm not sure, show that they were doing in London at the Roundhouse venue. I think it was like midway through the night. They did, I think, an afternoon show for mainly kids, but they did an evening show as well. I've seen the footage of the stuff, and I'll sort of describe it. It's probably out there, but I wouldn't say sort of looked into it deep too much, because it's literally seeing the the passing of a wrestler, which just seems to come out of nowhere. He does a leaping clothesline or spring, I guess. He bounces off the ropes, sort of like how Dean does. Not how Dean does the wacky line, but he comes off the ropes, Silver King, and clotheslines Juventud. Sort of leaping style-esque. And he goes for the pinfall. 1, 2, Hoovy kicks out, and Silver King just sort of begins to sort of collapse. And you see his leg sort of twitching in the air because he's on his knees, sort of thing, on all fours. Clearly, trying to get some movement in because he's having the heart issues. He then Hoovy, I guess, to try and work out what's going on, does a very simple light kick on his arm. Nothing that will hurt or anything, but then just before that happens, that's when he just slumps completely. And Hoovy, I guess, is confused, but at the same time must think something's up. So, he's sort of wondering what's going on. Black Terry, who isn't normally a referee, he's a wrestler, is refereeing on this one. And he covers him, I think, to try and indicate, look, can we get the match done with? Because there's something, I think that there might be something wrong here. But no, Black Terry's like, his shoulders have got to be on the mat. So dead weight, he has to pull him over, and then the referee goes 1, 2, and he leaves his hand there for about 4 seconds, and it's just like, count it, just count it. I don't care if that's not what it's supposed to be. And he did eventually. Juventud celebrates away a little bit. The referee, Black Terry's trying to sort of, I guess, rouse him. And then gradually something's coming up, and a trainer from the back's there, and then the first aid person sort of comes in eventually, and Movie's in there wanting some sort of the crowd to get behind him because he's in a bad way. And eventually the paramedics come in, and everybody starts getting sort of thrown out the building. With the person that was filming it, the person saying to him that this isn't part of the show. So then even at that point, people are realizing, oh, something major is going down. And yeah, it was. I won't give the credit to Sexy Star. I'll actually give the credit to like somebody that deserves it, like Cubs fan. He was the one that got the actual confirmation. But yeah, he passed away in the ring, doing what he loved. From what I remember, if I can find it, I think they announced today. If I have a quick look, I don't think it was today. It might have been yesterday. New Japan will be doing a 10-bell salute to him. I think next week, somewhere sort of. I don't know. I think it's one of the Kurikan Hall shows. They'll be doing it in respect of him because, of course, for a time he was one of the Black Tiger masks for a little bit, along with what character was he in Nacho Libre? Owen, can you remember? Oh no, that was it. Ramses, which apparently was the actual persona that he was wrestling with on against Juventud. So that went down. So in terms of the MMA stuff, some big stuff went down. You could argue on the Bellator shows. The main event saw Patricio Freire become the new lightweight champion, beating Michael Chandler after a TKO after only about a minute. Then on the undercard as well, Douglas Lima beating Michael Page with a 35-second knockout, clean knockout with a punch in the second round, that is, to progress on into the final of the World Grand Prix. However, the one that really overshadowed everything was Jake Hager and his win over TJ Jones. Most notably because, well, at first, I didn't see this until Thursday when they did the press stuff. Jake Hager looks like Jack Swagger. TJ Jones looks like, I don't know, I don't want to say Jimmy Lloyd, but he didn't look like an MMA fighter. He looked sort of more like a bouncer or something, or an amateur wrestler in style. Big old beer belly. So it was an okay bout. TJ Jones having to submit to the arm triangle choke midway through the first. Except Jake wouldn't break the hold. And he wouldn't break the hold. And the referee was having to pull him off in order to actually break the hold. Which is something you don't normally do in MMA. When the referee says break the hold, you break the hold. The clue's in the name. So very odd stuff. Bellator is not back until mid-June for their Madison Square Garden show, which looks to be a somewhat pretty stacked show. So should be an interesting one. Machida Sonnen, and then 2 title matches with McDonald versus Gracie and Horiguchi and Caldwell, with McDonald and Caldwell's welterweight and bantamweight belts being on the line, respectively. So the UFC pay-per-view. Big stuff throughout the entire card. So on the early prelims, Vivian Araujo beating Tatiana Bernardo with a 48-second knockout punch in the 3rd round. The bantamweights, Raoni Barcelos beating Kars Huichin very late on in the 2nd. Luana Carolina beating Priscilla Cachoeira in the flyweight division via unanimous decision, relatively one-sided. There was a 29-27, but the others gave it 30-26, the other 2 judges, so yeah, it's all the way around. Then in the opening one, Clay Guida beating BJ Penn via unanimous decision. I'm amazed that BJ Penn hasn't retired yet, because nowhere near the shape of the man that he was back in the day, so... Wally Alves beating Sergio Morales with a really nice punch with about a minute left in the 3rd round was enough to get him a $55,000 bonus. Nice. Thiago Moses beating Kurt Hollabar by unanimous decision, 2 30-26s and 29-27. Oh, the ones for Guida and BJ Penn, there was 2 29-28s and 29-27, by the way, in case you were interested. And then the final bit of the prelims, the light heavyweights, Ryan Spann beating Antonio Reguera Nogueira by a knockout in about 2 minutes. The start of a pretty relatively bad night for the Brazilians, because on the main card, there actually was supposed to be a fight with Carlos Diego Ferreira and Francisco Trinaldo on it instead. But that had to be cancelled because Ferreira was deemed medically unfit due to weight cutting. So that never happened. So it opened with a catchweight fight with Irene Aldana and Betche Carrera. The big thing about that is it's supposed to happen about 9 months ago, but Betche was injured apparently. And then at the weigh-ins, Carrera was 5 pounds over the bloody weight limit. So it went to catch weight. Aldana still won, winning with a armbar submission midway through the 3rd and final round. And in the welterweights, Laureano Starpoli beating Thiago Alves. Unanimous decision, 30-27 for 2 judges, a 29-28 from the 3rd. Then Jose Aldo losing as well to Alexander Volkanovski, 30-27 across the board from all 3 judges for that. And then Jared Cannonier beating Anderson Silva with a leg injury. Not as nasty as the crazy one that he had a few years back, but it was still a leg injury that led to the fight being called off close to the end of the 1st round. And then the interesting one. Rose Namajunas versus Jessica Andrade. It was really even and back and forth. And then the slam happened. Jessica Andrade basically grabbed her and threw Rose to the mat so hard it knocked Rose out and the referee had to call it. There's some people that are saying, that was far too violent. A slam that led to it. There's some people that think, that was perfectly fine. In my case, I honestly can see both sides. Where, not that I'm trying to sit on the fence, but considering how you very rarely see effective slams directly that lead to sort of a knockout, I guess it's something that we're not sort of used to. We're used to sort of a takedown that leads into either a submission or a TKO because of the ref stoppage, not a straight up knockout because the person's been knocked out because of the force of the throw. But yeah, then afterwards, Rose cutting a very sort of speech as if she was sort of, willing to retire because apparently she's felt a lot of pressure being on her shoulders while being champion, and feeling that that's been sort of a burden that's now been literally lifted off her shoulder with a sort of belt. So I hope it isn't the last we see from Rose, but I can understand considering the situation that she's been in. Pretty. Andrade wins the strawweight title by that as well. So ultimately, the title changed hand in Brazil, but quite a lot of the other Brazilian fighters didn't have a great performance. UFC moves to Rochester, New York this weekend, this Saturday. Debut actually in Rochester. In a card that's being headlined by Rafael dos Anjos taking on Kevin Lee in the welterweight division. Also on the undercard, we've got Megan Anderson taking on Felicia Spencer, Antonio Carlos Jr. versus Adam Heinch. No names I recognize.
I think.
Maybe Tara Eubanks taking on Aspen Ladd in the bantamweights. That's number 2 in the flyweight rankings, but I guess she's stepping up because everybody's going into different bloody weight divisions. And then in terms of the stuff coming up this weekend, thankfully not too much. Beyond Wrestling's already been going on while we're doing, so we'll cover that, I guess, next week. AEW has their Keeps Their Heads Ringing show at the Odeon in Cleveland, Ohio. Freelance Wrestling has their Battle Royale in their usual home at the Logan Square Auditorium, Chicago. CWF Mid-Atlantic's 80s Night 2 Electric Boogaloo is going down on Saturday. Other than that, thankfully nothing. But that's because there's a lot of stuff coming next weekend. What with Fight Club Pro, C4, No Regrets, which is Shikara, some Progress Wrestling, some OTT Wrestling, some ICW Wrestling, some Independent Wrestling.tv wrestling, some Alpha One stuff, some Smash Wrestling. It's all going down, and it's complicated as all hell. So it's going to be a busy next week. On top of obviously Double or Nothing. So get ready for all that to be previewed next week. And that is your lot. We done, son.
All right. So that's going to be your show. Stay tuned if you're a fan of wrestling content through either sometime in the next several days. Could be Sunday. Could be Tuesday. Chances are it might be Wednesday. Or maybe beyond. Just depends. Ashley, where can we find you on social media?
I'm on Twitter at my name UK, and thankfully, because they came out, I guess as it is now, yesterday, at least for me. Part 2 of the McDonald's burger stuff should be coming in the next day or two.
Very nice.
I guess I've got to find some reason to see Avengers and John Wick tomorrow. And no, the honest reason isn't actually just because I need to get the McDonald's burger. It's because I want to see those two. Well, I want to see Avengers again because I've waited for the hubbub to die down, and it's John Wick 3. I love the first two.
Since I don't have, I haven't had content for the last couple of days. Sorry, we'll take care of that in a bit. Notice there's a couple of days missing. Don't worry, content will be coming up soon. AJ just put out a very interesting video. If you haven't checked it out yet, he's talking about answering all the comments that have been left on our videos from him for the past 6 years. So check that out.
I found some because I completely forgot that I needed to watch Stepsisters, which actually made me watch the trailer because I hadn't watched it.
Mm.
You know what appears in the recommended bar?
His video?
No. For Stepsisters on Netflix, the bar says, "Why don't you purchase Pitch Perfect on YouTube video?"
Wow.
I'm like, yes! That's how much even YouTube is like, man, this sucks. I have got another drinks one that might be in the works as well.
Nice.
Involving some cola and stuff that I'll have to shoot over the next day or two.
So more videos coming in the near future, so stay tuned for that. Follow me on Twitter if you'd like at Sero and Disney. Follow the network at Popcast Network. If you have any ideas for Sip and Snack versus any other regular segments on the network, feel free to shoot me an email, seroanddisney@gmail.com. So in the meantime, I want to thank you guys and girls out there for watching. Continue to keep fingers crossed from yours truly in the near future. Hopefully another Birth in the Fog is going to be coming very soon. Fingers crossed for that. So I'll know someday. So once I find out, you guys will know. And until tomorrow, boys and girls, yowie wowie. That's all I got to say about that.
Yowie.